So what is kinesthetic awareness? We have the internal theater of the mind that plays images, that plays audio, and depending on what visuals and audio you play, it sends a kinesthetic wave of sensation through the body. So a kinesthetic sensation is a wave of feeling. It is sensation that is felt in the body. Now, tuning into kinesthetic awareness is an art, and if you can subtly turn your mind, turn your consciousness into the awareness of your felt sensation in your body, it can give you clues and give you information about yourself that you can't tap into any other way. Now, most people, when they connect to their kinesthetic awareness, they glue a label onto it and call it an emotion. An emotion is not really what a kinesthetic sensation is. It is when we evaluate a kinesthetic sensation. So the key is to stay within descriptive language, within observation language of the senses, in particularly the kinesthetic felt sensation, which is either felt by sensation on the skin or internal flows of feeling, whether you're feeling happy, joyful, blissful, elated, or you're feeling sad, anxious, and stressed. Now, there's a difference between different feelings. You get good feelings that you feel, and you get bad feelings that you feel. But good and bad, we take the label away when we tune into kinesthetic felt sensation. So within kinesthetic sensation, there is no label of good and no label of bad, because we've de-labeled and we're staying within the felt sensation, within the description of the felt sensation. So when you stay within the description of your felt sensation, it connects you into the sensation, the presence of the sensation. Now, the critical point in all of this is your ability to describe what you feel within your kinesthetic sensations. And this is where a lot of people fall short, because they don't know how to describe kinesthetic sensation. They're extremely out of tune with that part of the brain, with the emotional brain that connects you to all your internal states that you feel. So when you begin to connect in with your kinesthetic sensation and you learn to describe it in as many details as you can, that will give you a direct link up with your kinesthetic felt sensation. And once you can connect with this kinesthetic felt sensation, it's going to give you a sense of power and emotional control that you might have not had before. So it's like a superpower that's always been with you. Just you're now tuning in your awareness of the realization of this ability you've always had. We just haven't been taught it until now. So I'm sure all of you are wondering now, how do I describe this kinesthetic sensation? How do I describe? Well, description is based on asking specific questions that connect you into symbolism, that connect you into metaphor, because metaphor is the language of your emotional brain. It's the language of the unconscious mind. It's the language of the limbic system or the subconscious. There's many ways to call it, but it's the same name for all of these things. So when you can learn to describe in all the details that the kinesthetic sensation represents, and you want to develop it into more details, you want to develop the description into more details. Does it have a color? Whereabout is it located? Is it moving or is it keeping still? Is there anything else about that sensation that you feel? Any more details? Because when you start to ask these questions, your unconscious mind starts to provide with you the symbolism, the images, the pictures that you begin to see that connects you into the sensation that you feel. And this is where a bridge occurs. This is where we connect the two hemispheres of the brain when we start to tune in to our felt sensation and describe it. Because within the description allows you to connect with it, allows you to have presence with the five senses, the kinesthetic being one of those senses. And this applies not only to kinesthetics, but to all the sensations, all the senses that you have. Your visual sense, your auditory sense, your kinesthetic felt sense, which we've been talking about, your sense of smell, your sense of taste. All of these senses are our primary form of communication. And once we can learn descriptive language, it allows us to stay within our primary form of communication. Within the primary form of communication, that is where we have the power to shift and change our emotional states at will, by choice, because that is where they're created. That is the source from which those kinesthetics arise. And if we stay within emotional evaluation, when we evaluate the kinesthetic and we call it an emotional name, we one step remove ourselves from what it actually is, which means we remove ourselves from the ability to connect with it and to permanently change it within yourself. You see, it's all about going inside and just being able to tune into those subtle energies. Like, for instance, when you're feeling a good feeling, what is the first recognition? What is the first signal you get on the inside that lets you know you're starting to feel a good feeling? Because when you begin to tune into that sensation and develop it into more details, it's almost like, how do you know when you're feeling a good feeling? How do you know when you're feeling that? How do you know when you're feeling excited about something? What's the first recognition? What's the first feeling you get on the inside that lets you know you're starting to feel a good feeling? And then as you tune into that feeling and start to picture it in all the ways, maybe there's internal sound, maybe that flow feeling starts somewhere and then it flows somewhere else. But the more you can become aware of all of these things, the more you can tune into your power of your emotional brain. And that is what this training is all about. So kinesthetic awareness is just connecting into your felt sensation, taking away the labels, taking away the evaluations, staying within descriptive language, tuning into the subtle energies that you feel, staying within the body, stay within the body. Become external focused, get out of your mind. Too many people are walking heads, they're not connected to their body. And a great way to connect you into your body is when you find yourself through the day to day, just make sure you keep your awareness, 20% of your awareness on your feet touching the ground. That will keep you in an external focus. And then you can start to focus on all the five senses. What are you seeing? What sounds are you hearing? What feelings are you feeling? Maybe there's internal feelings that you feel, or maybe it's just feeling of the wind blowing against the skin. What are you smelling? What are you tasting? What does that smell like? What does that taste like? When you begin to learn all these senses and start to adapt sensory-based awareness, kinesthetic-based awareness, it's going to give you a lot of power in transforming any bad feeling into any good feeling, or any good feeling to any bad feeling, because this is the mechanism you already use, consciously or unconsciously. So the key is to become conscious of this mechanism. And within consciousness, it gives you freedom, it gives you power, and it puts you in the driver's seat of your emotional states.